Okay, I think we can get things started here. So welcome everybody. My name is Aaron. I'm a recruitment officer here at Lakehead University. My role at the university is within our undergraduate recruitment department. So most of the year I assist students with everything from application to program information, scholarships and awards, residence, kind of all things related to Lakehead. And I primarily work with high school students, but I'm also our college and university transfer lead as well. So if you have any questions after today, and I know I've spoken to a few of you joined us here already, which is great, but feel free to contact me directly. I've got my email up on the screen there. It's just transfer.recruit@lakeheadu.ca. Rebecca and I are happy to book a one-on-one appointment with you after today if you want to talk a little bit more about your own transfer credit situation or application. We know it's kind of a busy time of year, and for those of you that are still completing your program, you're almost at the finish line, so keep going. And I know it's been a difficult year, obviously, with the pandemic and online courses and everything else. So we appreciate you guys taking some time out of your busy evening. Hopefully nobody here is missing any evening classes, but we're going to give you a lot of information around mature college and university transfer applications. So we appreciate you guys joining us, and welcome.
Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your evening. I don't know what night it is, so thank you for whatever you're missing on the television at this moment in time. My name is Rebecca, like I said, and I'm with Aaron with the whole undergrad thing. Typically with high school students, but I'm helping Aaron this season with some of the college university transfers, and I'm very excited to be here. It's going to be great. I'm going to be on Q&A tonight. I'm sure Aaron's going to mention. So whatever you've got, bring it on. I will be posting links like crazy. So let's do it. Let's have some fun, shall we?
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. So just a little kind of housekeeping. In terms of how this evening is going to work, we'll do a kind of a formal-ish presentation that'll last about a half hour. And we're going to do a formal Q&A at the end of the presentation. But as Rebecca said, we want to keep it kind of interactive. So if you haven't used Zoom before, I'm sure a lot of you have, but feel free to drop a question in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. That really allows us to efficiently kind of answer those questions as we go through this evening, and we can answer them live, or Rebecca will be answering questions in the chat as well. If you want to just drop a quick message in the actual chat function, feel free to do that as well. But if you have some formal questions, the Q&A would be great, and then Rebecca and I will field those throughout. So let's get things started here. In terms of kind of information and places to find all things for mature and transfer students, check out the 2021 College and University Transfer Guide. This is available on our website for PDF download or viewing. We can even mail you a physical copy if you'd like one as well, but it's a really good place if you're just kind of starting your research around college and university transfer to find all the information that you need. In terms of booking a one-on-one appointment, again, Rebecca and I can book an appointment anytime, and our website is up on the screen there. I'll get Rebecca to post that link in the chat just so you guys can check it out later on this evening. Again, we're happy to help you throughout the transfer process. If you do have questions around admissions, Rebecca and I can definitely help you, but our Student Central team, or our admissions department, they're always a really good resource to speak to as well. You can book an appointment or give them a call Monday to Friday during office hours. And Student Central is the office that processes our applications. So if you have really specific questions around transfer credits, feel free to contact Student Central as well, and they can always give you a hand. In terms of what we're going to cover this evening, we'll talk a little bit obviously about who we are and what we do at Lakehead and the Lakehead Advantage. We're going to do quite a bit on transfer credits, and there's a few kind of different types of applicants and admissions requirements. And I know a lot of you are applying from a variety of different programs. So it's going to be a lot of information, but we want to make sure everybody's covered. So we'll touch on everybody from an admissions perspective. I'll touch on how to apply. Applications are still open. I know a lot of you were still considering applying, so don't worry about the application deadline that's just passed. We are still accepting applications through our college transfer programs. And we will touch on financial aid, things like scholarships and awards, and also residence. And like I said, we'll do a Q&A at the end. So lots of info. Feel free to drop some questions as we start, but just know we'll be covering quite a bit throughout the presentation. So in terms of Lakehead, who are we? For those of you that are just learning about Lakehead, we're a small to mid-sized university in Ontario. We have two locations in Thunder Bay and Orillia, Ontario, which I'll touch on here in a sec. We're a primarily undergraduate university. We have close to 70 degree programs across 10 different faculties. So we cover a little bit of everything program-wise, and we have quite a few transfer pathways for a lot of the registrants that we had on the webinar here this evening. This past year, we ranked in the top 10 for primarily undergraduate universities by Maclean's magazine, which we're happy about. We were ranked number 2 for undergraduate university research in all of Canada. And the previous 5 years, we were actually ranked number 1. So we are definitely a research-focused institution, and there's lots of great opportunities for you to get some research and hands-on experience at the undergrad level, even as a college transfer student coming into our program. So we'll touch a little bit on that as well. We've got about close to 9,000 students across our 2 campuses, and students coming from over 80 countries. So we are a diverse student population at Lakehead as well. Got you some unique one-of-a-kind programs, one of them being forestry, which I know a lot of you are interested in here this evening as well. And the really big thing at Lakehead that we always talk about is our small classroom environment. And that's really a big advantage for students transferring to Lakehead from a college program specifically, because you're used to maybe some of those smaller, classes and labs at the college level. So, it's not like you're adjusting to these large university lecture halls that a lot of students are kind of used to, or, you see in the movies or on TV. Our average class size at Lakehead is only 50 students, and 90% of our classes have 60 students or less. So the great thing about transferring in through some of our pathways, a lot of you are entering into second or third year of a degree program. So class sizes have already shrunk quite a bit. All the large kind of first year courses, a lot of you may receive transfer credit for. So you're really going to get to know your faculty, get to know the professors in your program on a first name basis, the students in your program, and it really helps with kind of the hands-on career-focused programming that we have at Lakehead as well. So that's definitely a big advantage, having a smaller classroom environment. Now, obviously, if you're looking at continuing your education, the end goal is obviously a career and kind of getting things started job-wise when you finish. 96.7% is our employment rate, at Lakehead within the first 2 years of graduation. And that's across all of our degree programs at Lakehead. So that's above the provincial average for Ontario universities. It just means that our students are doing great things after they graduate from all of our degree programs. And some of our degree program employment rates are actually higher than that 96.7% as well. So again, I think it just speaks to the kind of experiential learning and the hands-on components of the programs that kind of sets you up for success. But lots of great opportunities from all of our degree programs. Now, in terms of the programs, and again, I kind of touched on it a little bit with the class sizes. A lot of our programs, you get natural labs, or you get kind of experiential learning opportunities through your program. So, having the ability to take a class of 20 students or a lab of 8 students, outside of a typical university lecture hall and out into the environment, that's really another big benefit of studying in a lot of our programs. So I saw some of you that registered this evening were in programs like forestry technician or ecosystems management, or the sciences as an example, even programs like biotechnology. But even if you're not in a science or health science related program, even in the social sciences or areas like social work, you're still going to have opportunities within your program to get outside of a typical classroom setting and kind of learning through doing. And that's really where kind of the fun comes into play with the classroom experience. And again, just kind of sets you guys up for success, so you're job ready when you finish your program. Now, all of our programs at Lakehead have some sort of experiential learning component, whether that's through co-op, internship, practicum, placements, or field school. So just as an example, I know there's a lot of social work students with us here tonight. Social work students do 110 days of placement integrated into the final 2 years of their program. Programs like computer science and business have formal co-op options if you're looking for that as well. There are some programs like our outdoor recreation program, which are the students you're seeing on the screen here up on the mountaintop. They do some field placements and practicum at the end of their program as well. So there's lots of unique opportunities to, again, just kind of build on that hands-on experience and build your resume for when you graduate from the program, so you can hit the ground running. So in terms of location, we'll do a little geography lesson. I mentioned our two campuses. Thunder Bay is where our main campus is, up in northwestern Ontario, right at the top of Lake Superior. And then we have a campus in Orillia, which is in central Ontario, just an hour and a half north of the GTA. So we like to say we're 90 minutes from Toronto to both cities, whether you fly or you drive. And nice, easy access between both. And I know a lot of the registrants on here this evening were coming from Golden Horseshoe or GTA or Southwestern Ontario colleges. So you're only, a quick drive to the airport if you're flying up to Thunder Bay, and it's a quick hour flight with WestJet, Air Canada, or Porter Airlines to get up. And then you're only an hour and a half to 2 hours to our Orillia campus as well. Not every program is offered at both campuses, so I will make note of that as we kind of go through our program section today. But Rebecca and I are happy to clarify that if you have a specific program you're looking for. So looking at our cities, choosing a university, choosing a college even as well. Obviously your program is important, but it's also important that you find the right fit, right? And that comes to campus, size of the university, and obviously the environment within the city as well. For me, I love both cities that we have our campuses in. I grew up in Southwestern Ontario. So being in cottage country, I love it, both within Thunder Bay and in Orillia. They're both really unique kind of learning environments. So for those of you that are maybe coming from a bigger city environment, like a Hamilton or a Toronto, London, Kitchener, it's going to be a little bit different, but that's kind of the fun part. It's something new and something new to kind of experience. So for those of you that haven't been to Thunder Bay, we're kind of looking at the downtown core in this picture, and that's the Sleeping Giant Provincial Park. It's kind of a giant kind of mountain that you can see from anywhere within the city, and it sits right on the shores of Lake Superior. So Thunder Bay, for me, is a perfect city size-wise. It's not too big, it's not too small. It is one of the largest cities in Northern Ontario. So the population is 110,000 people. So it's very similar to, a comparable would be like a Hamilton or a Guelph or a Kingston as an example. All the city amenities that you're kind of used to in Southwestern Ontario and some of those bigger cities you'll find in Thunder Bay. But the advantage is it feels a little bit more like a smaller town, super friendly people, easy access to get around town. There's no traffic, which I love. Hop on the highway in Thunder Bay and the expressway and head downtown in about 10 minutes from the airport for the campus. So obviously that's an advantage, but the real advantage is just the outdoors. You're right in the heart of cottage country. You're surrounded by provincial parks. You're on Lake Superior, like I mentioned. You've got Kekabeka Falls, which is one of the largest waterfalls in Ontario outside of Niagara. It's about a half-hour drive from campus. You've got Mount McKay. So if you're an outdoorsy kind of person, or you just like being close to that kind of cottage country vibe, it doesn't get much better in Thunder Bay, and it's like I said, a really unique place to kind of live and learn. Now, looking at the campus, just to give you a bit of perspective, that's Mount McKay, kind of overlooking the campus in the background there, and then we've got our residence buildings at the bottom of the screen. Just to give you a bit of an overhead shot, we've got about 7,500 students studying at the Lakehead Thunder Bay campus. And the nice thing is the campus is pretty compact. So you can get across campus in about 5 or 10 minutes if you're walking. A lot of the buildings are connected by an above or underground path system. So when it does get cold in the wintertime, you can just stay indoors, just run from the first building or res into the academic building, and you're good to go. But everything's nice and tightly knit. Everything you would find at your own home college campus, you'll find at the Thunder Bay campus as well, in terms of student supports and athletics. We've got a 6th-floor library there as well, the student center, lots of space on campus to study. In terms of where the campus is, it's right in the heart of Thunder Bay. So it's only a 5-10 minute drive from the downtown core. The Thunder Bay Regional Health Center, or the hospital, is the big white building right across the street from our campus. So for those of you that are studying in some of the health science related programs, there's some really good research opportunities there as well. And if you don't have a vehicle, the bus will come to the front door of campus every half hour to 40 minutes, and will take you anywhere you need to go within the city in about 20 minutes or so with stops. So if you don't have a vehicle, it's quite easy to get around with the transit system. And like I said, nice and centrally located within the city. Now, if you're looking to stay a little closer to home, Aurelia, that's currently where I'm calling from today. Like I said, Aurelia is in the heart of central Ontario. It's in cottage country. We're just north of the GTA and just south of Muskoka. So if you know where Barrie is, we're just north of there. For me, Aurelia is like a smaller version of Thunder Bay. The population is about 40,000 people, but you kind of get the best of both worlds with the city amenities and the small town charm. You're obviously still super close to the GTA, but even Barrie is 160,000 people population wise, and it's right down the road from Aurelia. Right in the heart of Aurelia, you've got great local shops and restaurants like Mariposa Market, Rustica. There's lots of great kind of coffee shops downtown to get work done. It is a festival town, which you saw there. So there's lots of live music and concerts in all 4 seasons, which is great. And again, you get all the cottage country vibes you get from Thunder Bay within the Simcoe County region. You're right on Lake Couchiching and Lake Simcoe, which are 2 pretty good sized lakes that come together right downtown. And the waterfront is only a 5-10 minute drive from our campus. So again, if you're kind of looking for that outdoorsy vibe, a little bit more of a relaxed learning environment, it's a great opportunity to do it not too far from the GTA. Now, looking at the campus, the Aurelia campus has only been open since 2010, so it is newer. It's a lot smaller than our Thunder Bay campus. It's still growing. Even though it's a lot smaller physically on campus, you still have all the same resources that you get in Thunder Bay. So we do have a full residence complex, which you see on the right. The building at the back is our Simcoe Hall building. That's the academic building. So that's where you would have all of your classes and labs at Lakehead Aurelia. And that's where we have all of our student support resources. So things like academic advising, tutoring, accessibility services, even health and wellness are within the residence in the Simcoe Hall building. So there's athletics on campus as well, whether it's intramural or extramural sports. So if you're looking to get involved, don't let the small size of the campus fool you. There's still lots to do and lots to get involved with on the Lakehead Aurelia campus. And we do have a good mix of programs there as well, which we'll touch on this evening. So getting into kind of the meat and potatoes here, the admissions and the programs, like I mentioned, we have over 60 degree programs at Lakehead in 10 different faculties. So I'm going to discuss, not all of them, but a few of them. And I'm going to talk about how to transfer as a mature student, how to transfer as a college student, and then how to transfer as a university student. So we do have a good mix of students registered on the webinar here this evening. So I'll touch briefly on each. But as I'm going through this, if you have some specific questions, again, feel free to drop it in the Q&A, and Rebecca and I can answer them at the end or throughout. Okay, so let me start with mature student applicants. So it gives you a bit of a definition at the top of the screen there. What is a mature student? Basically, a mature student is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident who has not been engaged in full-time studies for at least 2 years and have completed less than 1 year of college, okay? You've never attended a university and do not meet the general admissions requirements for your program, okay? So basically, if you haven't completed any university level courses or you've completed less than a year of college, you can apply as a mature transfer student. And this would be maybe a few of you in the room here this evening. So in terms of requirements, you can apply to any of the degree programs we have at Lakehead. The main thing you'll need to do is meet the prerequisite courses to get into your specific program. Okay, so you'll see we're looking for the required prerequisite courses at the grade 12 U or M level. Grade 12 U level obviously stands for university. Grade 12 M stands for mixed level courses. Okay, so there are specific course requirements, obviously, for each program. I'll give you an example for the Honors Bachelor of Commerce degree program, the business program at Lakehead. We're looking for grade 12U English, 1 grade 12U math, and then any 4 additional grade 12U or M credits. So if you're a mature student and you're applying as a mature student, you would need to at least complete the grade 12U English and 1 grade 12U math to meet the prerequisite courses to get into the business program. Okay. There is an opportunity to submit a mature student profile. So if you've been in the workforce a little bit, if you have some experience or you have a bit of a story to tell in terms of getting into some of our programs, you can submit a mature student profile. Typically, our admissions department will request that profile if you don't meet some of the requirements for our program, but you can submit that directly to our admissions department as well. So if you're kind of a little unsure if you're a mature student or not, feel free to, again, reach out to Rebecca or I. We can touch on that after this evening. But just know that you can still apply into all of our programs. You just need to do some upgrading and meet those prerequisite courses for your program. Okay. So aside from applying as a mature student, let's talk about how to transfer for those of you that have actually completed college or university credits. There are basically 4 ways to transfer to Lakehead if you've completed college or university courses. The first would be general transfer. So for those of you that are applying to Lakehead where we don't have an agreement or a multilateral or a bilateral pathways, so we don't have a pathway from a diploma to a specific degree program at Lakehead, that's okay. You can always apply as a transfer student through our general transfer requirements if you've completed courses at the college or university level. Basically, we'll just assess your transcript course by course to see if you've met the prerequisite courses, and then we'll give you any potential transfer credits towards our degree. Okay, so I know there's a few of you out there. I think we had a student that was in a respiratory therapy diploma program. We don't have a pathway for that program specifically. So if you were applying to, let's say, our kinesiology program, we would just assess your transcript, see what you've taken, and then, like I said, potentially give you transfer credit towards the program. So that's kind of the first easy way. The way that a lot of you on the webinar tonight will likely be applying is through our multilateral pathways. So multilateral pathways, I'll touch on here in a sec, but that's when you're coming specifically from an Ontario college diploma program into a specific degree program at Lakehead. So we have some sort of pathway agreement between the 2 programs, but that pathway can be from any Ontario college, okay? The third option is the bilateral pathway. That's when we have agreements with specific colleges and specific programs, which I'll touch on as well. And we do have some specific college partners. The last option would be through our engineering college transfer program. We're not going to be touching on the Eng program tonight. If there's any engineering technology diploma students on, our faculty of engineering does all of the admissions and recruitment for that program. So feel free to reach out to the faculty of Eng directly if you have specific questions around that. But Rebecca and I can try and field those this evening as well. So those are kind of the 4 quick options. So let me start with transferring from university. So for those of you that have already completed university courses and are looking to transfer to Lakehead, we do have some options. In terms of admissions requirements, we are obviously looking for you to have completed some coursework at the university level. You do need to complete the prerequisite courses for the program at Lakehead that you're applying to. And that would be the grade 12U or M prerequisite courses that I mentioned earlier. And we're also looking for a minimum overall average of 60% on your university studies. Okay, so we're looking for at least a 60 overall average. And you do need to have at least a 60% in a course credit to have it as a potential transfer credit. Okay, so we'll review any university courses that you've completed. You have a 60 overall average, we can kind of go from there. In terms of prerequisites, I've just got an example from the nursing program because it's a popular one. But again, we have the prerequisite courses for all of our programs on the websites, and I'll maybe get Rebecca to drop the program list link in the chat, just so you guys can find the prerequisites for your program if you need them. Okay, so if you've completed university courses, we just assess you case by case basis, and we kind of go from there. In terms of transfer credit as a university student, just quickly, again, I already mentioned this, but we need a 60% in a course credit in a final grade to potentially have it as a transfer credit. How we determine transfer credits, that's always a question I get from college and university students. There's a few different factors, and you see them on the screen there. We're typically looking for your final grades in a course. We also look at the actual course content. We look at the credit hours of that course, and then obviously we look at the program you applied to at Lakehead and how that correlates. Okay, so it can be a little bit tricky with transfer credits. Not every institution is the same, not every program is the same. And that's why we always say it's done on a case-by-case basis, because we always need to review your transcript in order to assess transfer credits, okay? Now, general college transfer, if you've completed, let's say, a year of a college diploma or a certificate program, as an example, you can apply as a transfer student without completing your college program, okay? So if you're in first year of your program right now and you want to transfer into Lakehead, into a degree program, you can do that. You would just apply as a general transfer student. Again, we're looking for a minimum of a year of full-time academic studies at the college level since leaving high school. We're looking for the prerequisite courses for your program to get into the degree at Lakehead. And we're looking for at least a minimum 70 overall average from your college courses. Okay, so again, if you've done a year, we're going to look at all those courses. If you have over a 70 minimum average, that's the minimum requirement to get into potentially our programs, okay? In terms of transfer credit and how it works, similar to the university transfer, like I just mentioned, final grades, course content, credit hours, all of that is exactly the same. And it's done on a case-by-case basis. Now, a lot of you, as I went through the registration list, it seemed like most of you would be applying through the multilateral agreements. So I'm going to take a little bit of time on this section here. Basically, like I said, with multilateral agreements, there are agreements with colleges across Ontario from specific diploma programs, and where you transfer into a Lakehead degree program, either in first, second, or third year of studies. And we've got over 20 multilateral agreements at Lakehead covering arts and business, crim, education, health sciences, environmental is a big one, and obviously social work. So we have quite a few agreements that are out there across all Ontario colleges. So this is where a lot of you will probably be applying from. Now, this is a chart kind of showing some of our most popular multilateral agreements. This definitely isn't all of them. So if you're looking for all of the multilateral agreements we have, I'll get Jess just to drop the link where you can search college transfer pathways in the chat. But you can also find this information in the college transfer guide that I mentioned at the start. Okay, so you have a couple different options. When you're looking at this chart, the first column on the left is the diploma you need to complete at any Ontario college. The next column over shows you the degree you can transfer into at Lakehead. Then we've got obviously the minimum overall average for admissions. We've got the year that you're going to enter into at Lakehead, which campus that program is offered, and then at which point your program will start. So when you're applying through a multilateral agreement, it can vary sometimes. Some students will start in the spring-summer semester, which is June, July into August. Some of the multilaterals we have, you see, start in the fall, which is pretty standard for a lot of programs at Lakehead. We don't have any winter semester entry programs. So for those of you looking to start in January, that might be an option for January 2022. But a lot of the transfer pathways, you'll start either in the spring, summer, or in the fall, okay? Generally speaking, with multilateral agreements, if you're completing a 2-year diploma program, the maximum transfer credit that you'll receive is 1 year towards your Lakehead degree. So most degree programs at Lakehead are 4 years. So if you're doing a 2-year, let's say, biotechnology diploma, you can apply directly into our applied life sciences degree with a 75 overall average. You enter into second year of that applied life sciences program, which means that it would take you second year, third year, and fourth year, so 3 years total, to finish that Lakehead degree. If you're doing a 3-year advanced diploma, that's when you get a little bit more transfer credit. And typically for 3-year advanced diploma grads, the maximum transfer credit you receive is to come into year 3 of a degree program. So you'll see, as an example, for, let's say, business, you can do a 3-year business administration diploma at any Ontario college. If you're applying into our commerce program, our honors Bachelor of Commerce program, you enter into third year, and it would only take you 2 years, third year and fourth year, to finish that entire degree. So you're basically getting the first 2 years exempted. There's lots of other examples there for the social work students in the room. I know there's a lot of you. For SSW diploma grads, we're looking for a 70 overall average. You gain admissions into year 2 of our Bachelor of Social Work program. So it would take you 3 years to finish your Bachelor of Social Work degree, and so on. Okay, so if you have specific program related questions, just in the interest of time, we're going to kind of keep things moving with the presentation. But again, Rebecca and I are happy to answer questions throughout and at the end with program specific questions. And like I said, we can always book an appointment with you afterwards if you need to as well. So the last option in terms of transfer is the bilateral agreements. So these are with specific colleges and specific programs to transfer into a specific degree program at Lakehead. So you've got a full list there of all the colleges we currently have bilateral agreements with. If you don't see your college on there, again, that's probably because we have a multilateral pathway for you, okay, which is going to be very similar in terms of transfer credits. So don't let that scare you. These are just very specific programs we have agreements for. In terms of bilateral agreements, these are, again, a few examples, but not all of the bilaterals that we have. These are just the ones that I saw some of our registrants had applied from or were applying to. So I thought I'd throw those in there. I know we have some Confederation College students, which is obviously up in Thunder Bay. So I'll touch on a few of those. For those of you that are coming from a computer programmer diploma at Confederation College, you are able to apply directly into our computer science degree program at our Thunder Bay campus. We're looking for a 70 overall average. And again, you enter into year 3 of our computer science program. So it would only take you 2 years to complete the degree. And you're starting in the spring, summer semester of the program. Okay, same thing goes for the Georgian College students in the room. I know we've got some environmental technology students and fitness and health promotion students. Similar process, we're looking for a 70 or 75 overall average from your diploma. And again, you get entry into year 3 of the degree at either our Thunder Bay or Aurelia campus, depending on your program preference. So these are great agreements. They're really seamless in terms of transfer credit. We still need to review your transcripts when you apply to grant you transfer credits. But these are very seamless pathways for those of you that are coming from specific college diploma programs. Okay. So a couple quick FAQs. These are questions I typically get from college and university transfer students. First one, I don't see a transfer pathway for my program. Can I transfer? The answer is yes, and I touched on this a little while ago. So you can apply as a general transfer student if you've partially completed a diploma or partially completed a degree, or if you've completed a diploma and we don't have a formal pathway for your program. Okay, so there's always opportunity to do that. The website is on the screen there, but again, we just need to review your transcripts and potentially you could receive transfer credits towards your program. Another question I get is part-time versus full-time. So a lot of students studying at Lakehead that transfer in are typically doing full-time studies, but we do have opportunity for students to do a part-time course load or part-time studies through a variety of our programs. So if you're looking for part-time studies, if you want to take maybe 1 or 2 courses per term, that may be an option for you as well. And I would recommend contacting either Rebecca or myself or our admissions department in Student Central, just so we can talk about how that would work for you in terms of your program, but that is an option as well. Last question, this is one I get off and on, but especially from students that are international students maybe that are coming with previous degrees completed. You can't transfer into a master's degree. So for a lot of you that are applying, you're going to be applying into a bachelor's degree program or what we call an undergraduate degree. But we do also have graduate studies at Lakehead, and those are master's degrees and then ultimately PhD programs as well. You don't transfer into those, so you don't receive transfer credits. But if you've completed a degree already, you may receive admissions into a master's program. So we won't touch on those here tonight, but the graduate studies website is on the screen there if you want to take it down and learn a little bit more about our grad studies programs. So how do you actually apply? I know a few of you are probably asking that question already. So let's get into how to apply. Pretty seamless process. For any college or university transfer students, you'll be applying through the Ontario University's Application Center, or OUAC, and you're going to be using the 105 application. So when you're on the home screen, ouac.on.ca, you'll see there are a variety of different applications you can choose from. The 105 application is essentially for any student that's a mature student or a college or university transfer student. And it doesn't matter if you're a domestic or an international student, you would use that 105 application. In terms of submitting documents, that's a big question. So the nice thing about UAC or OUAC, when you submit your application, you're going to request to have your transcript sent digitally. So when you submit your application, UAC will notify your home institution that we need your transcript. They'll send that transcript to UAC, which goes through to our admissions department in Thunder Bay. And once we have your unofficial or official transcripts, we can start the process of reviewing your transcript and transfer credit assessment. So you typically don't have to go into your registrar's office and ask for a physical mailed copy or anything like that. It's all done through the UAC website. Okay. Once you've applied, we'll send you an email giving you information on next steps, which also includes a username and a temporary password to access our website. And part of our website is called your My Info account. And that's basically your student portal, which gives you lots of information. You can check your application status on My Info. You can check your transfer credit evaluation. You can submit documents as well. So it's a really good place to get familiar with for those of you that have applied or are going to apply. And that would be your next step after application. We'll review your transcripts for transfer credits. Offers are made on a rolling basis through the entire year. Typically, it's a minimum 6 weeks for turnaround from the time you apply to a conditional offer of admissions. But right now is a peak period for our admissions department. They're pretty busy with transcripts, so it may take a little bit longer than that. But offers are given out on a rolling basis through the year. And then ultimately, if you're ready to go, you would accept your offer of admissions, and you'll have information on how to do that in your offer letter. So in terms of next steps, document submission, I just want to quickly touch on that. If we need other required documents that we don't have, or if you need to upload additional documents to your application, you can do that through UAC and the My Info account on our lakeheadu.ca website. There are some alternate options. This past year during the pandemic, we were allowing students to submit unofficial documents via email directly to our admissions department. So there is another process available there as well if you need to. But like I said, a lot of you will be submitting your transcripts directly through UAC and going from there. So once you have applied and you have your username and password, this is just a screenshot of the website, but you'll see my email and my info on the top right-hand corner. And that's where you would log in to access everything that I just mentioned. So again, great place to learn information around even course registration. That would kind of be your next step as a future student. And I know a lot of you are probably wondering, okay, I've applied, I'm coming in as a transfer student. How many courses do I need to take to finish my degree? Which courses do I have to take to do that? Don't get too stressed out. You guys will learn about that in the next couple months as we approach the spring. We are running some webinars in the springtime, which we call Fast Pass. So that's circled at the bottom of the screen here. Fast Pass is a webinar we do hosted by our Student Central office, where they talk about course registration and everything you would need as an incoming student to our degree programs. So keep an eye for registration for our Fast Pass webinars, and that'll be a good resource for all of you when the time comes. What you'll use to look at your course requirements is called the academic calendar, which is what we see on the screen here as well. And I'll just show you an example of an academic calendar. So the academic calendar shows you the breakdown of each year of your degree program and the course requirements for that program. So we do have a lot of social work students on the webinar here tonight, so I'll use that as an example. For those of you that are transferring from an SSW diploma into a Bachelor of Social Work degree, you'll typically enter into year 2 of the Bachelor of Social Work degree program. And this is showing you the course requirements through the academic calendar. So at Lakehead, we work on an FCE or full course equivalent system. And a really easy way to look at things, if you're looking at the academic calendar, if you see a requirement that's half a credit or 0.5 FCEs, that means you're going to be required to take a course that's 1 semester. So September to December will be fall semester, January to April, May would be winter semester. If you see 1.0 FCEs, that can be a full year course starting in September, ending in April, or it can be 2 half-credit courses. So 1 course that you would take in the fall and another one that you would take in the winter. Okay, so without getting into too much detail, again, we can help you out with that, but it's just an easy way to look if you're looking at course requirements. You can click on a lot of the courses that you'll see in the academic calendar and get a course description. So if you're wondering what you're actually going to be taking in some of these courses, that's a great place to start as well. And you guys will learn about the academic calendar in the next couple months and as well during FastPass. So you're ready to go when course registration opens up. Course registration for fall semester typically opens in June. So just worry about finishing up your current diploma program, and course registration will basically happen after you guys wrap up. For those of you that are starting in the spring summer semester, you'll receive information about course registration before that. So just keep an eye on your email, and likely your program chair and Student Central will be reaching out to you guys with information around course registration. In terms of important deadlines, as we kind of wrap up here, like I mentioned earlier, March 1st was the deadline to apply, but applications are still open. So if you're looking to apply for spring, summer, or fall term this year, it's all good. Applications are still open, and we accept applications on a rolling basis through the year. You don't have to finish your diploma program to apply. A lot of students think that sometimes. So if you're in your last semester of your program, feel free to apply as soon as possible, just so we can start the application process. And basically, you'll receive a conditional offer of admissions based on the grades we have, or we'll wait until those final grades from your diploma come in if need be. Okay, so that's kind of how things work. Deadline to accept your offer is May 3rd once you receive your offer of admissions, but check your offer letter just with all the details and deadlines specifically for your program. Confirmation deposit deadline is June 1st. So the confirmation deposit essentially holds your spot in the academic program. So that's when you're telling us that you're coming. And your deadline to meet conditions of your offer and submit your final transcripts is July the 5th. Okay, so you have lots of time to do everything you need in the next kind of 3-4 months. But if you have questions, feel free to contact our Student Central office, and they can always give you a hand as well. Now, the big question I'm sure Rebecca's probably got already is how are courses being offered in the fall? We just had a fall delivery announcement from our Provost and Vice President Academic, Dr. David Barnett. That message is on the screen here. So essentially, to paraphrase, we will be looking at returning to primarily in-person learning starting in September of 2021. Okay. This past year, obviously with the pandemic, a lot of our college and university partners, including Lakehead, offered an alternative delivery model for programming where we had synchronous and asynchronous online courses offered. We did have some in-class or in-person labs depending on the program, but the majority of our courses this past academic year were delivered online. But we are hopeful that we are able to return to primarily in-person learning for September. Obviously, there's a lot of variables with that. We still have to be patient and be diligent in terms of what we're all doing, staying home and staying safe. So keep an eye on your email after you've applied, because you will receive information around how your program is going to be delivered. And you can also check the Lakehead website. We have a COVID-19 webpage. The link is actually at the bottom of the screen, and that'll give you all the information you need around updates for programming and all things COVID-19. So if you're curious, that's the best place to start. But that's kind of where we're at this moment in time. In terms of next steps, applying for financial aid. So we do have a few scholarships, awards, and bursaries available. We have our transfer award, which is valued at $500 to $1,000. This is for full-time students that are studying at Lakehead. There's a few conditions in terms of eligibility that you'll see on the screen there. But the main one for the transfer award, we are looking for a minimum 70 overall average. And you do have to be a permanent resident or Canadian citizen to receive the transfer award. So this is a great one right off the bat. All of you on the webinar here this evening should be able to apply for this one if you have the 70 overall average, which is great. And it's a great way right off the bat to help cover some of those financial costs. The transfer and mature student bursary is the second one available. This one's also valued at up to $1,000. It's again for students that are transferring from a college or university or post-secondary program directly into Lakehead. We're looking for full-time residents or Canadian citizens studying full-time starting in September. With this one, we are looking for students to demonstrate financial need. So when you're filling out the application for this bursary, bursaries are typically based on financial need. So depending on your application, you'll receive up to $1,000 potentially through this bursary. Okay, so these two, the transfer award, transfer student bursary, those are specifically for all of you. There are some other scholarships, awards, and bursaries available as well on the website. If you have questions about those, feel free to contact us or Student Central directly, and we can always walk you through the process. But great way right off the bat to get up to $2,000 as a college or university transfer student. Just lastly, in terms of big things, and then we'll get into questions because I know I've covered quite a bit, is residence. Residence is available at both campuses for college and university transfer students. So for those of you looking to go up to Thunder Bay, I'll start there. We do have a couple different options for residents. We have our townhouse units, which you're seeing on the screen, and then we have our apartment style units. So I'll start with the townhouses. Townhouses are 2 floors. They're 4 bedrooms. You get a full suite washroom on the top floor. There's a living room, a full kitchen on the first floor with a dining area and storage. And there's a little back patio area there as well. The apartment units are very similar in square footage. Same thing, they're 4 bedrooms. The main difference is the apartment units are 1 floor. Okay, so all 4 bedrooms are down a hallway together. You've got 1.5 bath, storage area, full kitchen, full living room, and dining area as well. So if you're looking to stay on campus, the apartment and townhouses are right in the middle of campus or close to that. Nice, easy walk to get to the academic buildings. You aren't required to have a meal plan if you're living in the apartment or townhouses because you have your own full kitchen and double fridge freezer space. So if you don't want to purchase a meal plan, you don't have to, you're not required, but you do have an option for meal plan if you do want it. Now, for those of you looking at Aurelia, this is an outside shot of the Aurelia Res building. It's 6 floors, just over 200 rooms. All the rooms are exactly the same. So when you're applying to Aurelia Res, they're all the same style. And they're single dormitory style res rooms. So a little bit different of a layout. We have an entire floor that's typically reserved for college, university, and mature student applicants. So all of the kind of transfer students and mature students are typically on 1 floor together. 2 single rooms are adjoined by 1 full suite washroom. All the amenities and furnishing is included just like the Thunder Bay campus. The main difference is obviously the kitchen setup. So with the single dorm style res, we don't have a full kitchen access for students to cook meals daily. There are small kitchen areas on each floor of residence in the big social lounge area. But students that are living in res in Aurelia are required to have a meal plan because we don't have full kitchen access. Okay, so we do have information around the meal plan and how it works. We have a cafeteria dining hall on campus in Aurelia, as well as our coffee house. I'll let Rebecca post the residence link in the chat just to give you guys a little bit of info. But with both campuses, you just apply by the June 1st deadline and you're all set in terms of accommodations. There is lots of off-campus housing in both cities as well for those of you that need it. There's a little bit of information on our residence website about off-campus housing, but the best place to start looking if you need to is definitely Kijiji. That's where I found the most luck with both Thunder Bay and Aurelia. There's lots of units, full homes that are rented out to students as well, just like I'm sure you're doing right now in your respective cities. So start doing some research now for those of you that are looking for the summer or September, and let us know if we can give you a hand. So we are at the end of the line here. There's a lot of info, like I said, but if you have specific questions about your program or anything else, feel free to book a virtual meeting with myself or Rebecca or any of our recruitment officers. You can do that directly on our website, Monday to Friday, 8:30 till 4 o'clock. And I'll let Rebecca drop that link in the chat as well. We'd be happy to answer any questions after this evening and give you a hand. Like I mentioned, Student Central or our admissions office, they can also give you a hand if you want to give them a call or shoot them an email. Any of the professionals that answer the phone line can give you a hand around transfer credit admissions. So we will leave it there. I appreciate everybody attending. I know it's been a long one, a lot of information there, but I wanted to make sure we covered everything for all of our registrants. And for those of you that will maybe be viewing this on our YouTube channel later on, we will open it up to questions now. So if you have some specific questions you want to drop in the chat or in the Q&A, I know Rebecca's been answering some as we've been going through, which is great. But we're happy to stay as long as you need. So like I said, applications are open. If you have questions going forward, feel free to give us a shout, but we'll maybe leave it there. So thanks to all of you if you're taking off for this evening. But we'll turn it over to Rebecca to maybe take a look at some of our questions.
Want to hear something crazy, Aaron?
Sure.
There's no questions.
Nice. I was just talking too much. That's the thing. I've covered everything. No questions.
I think that's it.
You killed it.
You're just the perfect presenter, so no one has any questions. Nobody has any because you took care of it all.
That's great. I'm sure somebody's got a question up there. I know it's quite a bit of info, but like I said, it's the process in terms of applying as a transfer student. Pretty simple. Apply through UAC or OUAC. It's always case-by-case basis, so we need to review your transcripts in all cases. But there's some really good pathways for those of you through some of those multilateral agreements and those bilaterals. So I sent all of you an individual email today or yesterday with kind of some program-specific info, which probably helped a little bit in terms of questions. But if you do have more questions after today, just give me a shout and I can always give you. So we'll hang on here for a couple minutes, but thanks again.
I jinxed it.
I knew there was going to be a few. People just don't want to ask the first question.
Pardon?
People just don't want to ask the first question, right?
Exactly.
Someone's got to break the ice. Go ahead, Rebecca.
All right. Do many universities have multilateral?
Yeah, good question. A lot of universities in Ontario and across Canada have multilateral agreements. They may not call them multilaterals. They may call them transfer pathways or articulation agreements, and there's all kinds of different phrases, but the easy answer is yes. So a good place to start, if you're trying to figure out what kind of pathways are out there, obviously we'd love to have all of you here with us at Lakehead, but we know that may not be the best fit for everyone. So on the chat, whoops, I think I sent that to Rebecca. I'm just going to include a website. On transfer or ontransfer.ca is a really great website for anybody to research diploma to degree pathways, or what we call multilateral agreements at Lakehead. So if you're looking for other institutions in Ontario, definitely check that out. And even for Lakehead, all of our agreements are on that website, and you can search different programs and find the best pathway for you. So that's a good question.
Awesome. Thank you.
No worries.
And we've got another question here. Where can we find tuition fees for the programs?
On the website. If we can find it here, Rebecca, we'll toss that link in the chat. I know it's kind of a hard one to find, so maybe use the search bar if you need to. But the tuition fees are available on the financial aid or the Student Central section of our website. If you go to lakeheadu.ca and you type in tuition fees in the search bar, one of the first search results is typically the web link that you need to find it. But basically you can click on the drop-down menu to find your program. you can select the year that you're looking to start, and then you can search the tuition fee for that specific program. Right now, we have the current academic year tuition fees. So that would be for 2020, 2021. The new tuition fees for the fall aren't released yet, but they will be very similar to the tuition fees that are offered this current academic year. So that'll be a good base for you. The average tuition fee at Lakehead for any program is around $6,800 for a year or 2 academic terms. Tuition fees can vary per program, but they're usually fairly similar, fairly consistent between programs. So feel free to search your program specifically and let us know if you have any questions about that.
All right, one more.
Sure.
Someone is missing a program requirement. They chose college because they did not like math, and I'm with you. Right? But now they see that they need it. Is there a way that they can get math through Lakehead?
Yeah. So if you're in a college or university program currently, and you're looking to transfer to Lakehead, there's a few options. So if you're applying through one of our multilateral or bilateral pathways, we do not, I didn't mention this earlier, but typically we're just looking at your college diploma transcripts or your university degree transcript. So with the bilateral and multilateral agreements, we don't require to look at your high school diploma because you have equivalent courses and prerequisite courses already completed through your college and university studies. So let me say that right off the bat. If you aren't applying through a multilateral or a bilateral pathway or agreement, like I said earlier, we need to look to see if you have the prerequisite courses to get into our program. If math is a required course and you don't have that, we can look to see if we have an equivalent math course from your diploma courses. If we don't, then you kind of have 2 options. One of the easy options would be to do upgrading through your local adult learning center. So in all the kind of major cities or in small towns, but there's always adult learning centers kind of in and around across the province where you can take Ontario secondary school diploma level courses, either online or in person. A lot of them are obviously offered online right now. But that's an easy way to do upgrading if you need to pick up a prerequisite course. And that's always one that I recommend. So here I live in Barrie right now. So we have an adult learning center in Barrie. We have another one in Aurelia as well, where mature students are picking up high school level courses and in some cases completing their high school diploma. So if you need, let's say, grade 12 advanced functions for your program, that would be one of the places to do that. There are some other online options. Virtual high school is one option. There's a bunch of other ones out there as well. As long as it's a ministry approved course or place that you're doing your OSSD courses, that's what we're looking for. So keep that in mind if you're looking for online learning options. Just make sure it's a ministry approved program or ministry approved course credit, and that will meet our requirements for admissions. Okay, so you can't do the math upgrading at Lakehead, before you get into your program. You'd have to do it before you get into Lakehead. But you could either do an equivalent course through your college, or you could do an adult learning center high school level course to get it. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. All right, we have a first year computer programming student.
Okay.
Would like to transfer into computer science after their graduation.
Okay.
And come to Lakehead. Is there a co-op option while they're here at Lakehead for computer science?
Yeah, good question. So there are co-op options for a lot of programs at Lakehead, including computer science. Co-op is an option, but it's not mandatory. So it's kind of a nice thing. You still have a little bit of time to decide. Co-op will add basically a year onto your program because you're doing 12 to 16 months of co-op placement within your degree program or computer science. So with the computer science transfer program, it would take you 2 years to finish the degree without co-op, or it would take you 3 years to complete it with co-op. So either way, you have both options when you're applying. Co-op is a great option if you haven't done a co-op already, because co-ops are always paid. And those are work placements specifically, obviously related to your program. So it's a great way to get some experience in the field, build your resume, network, and make some contacts within specific organizations or businesses that you may want to work when you graduate. But at the same time, lots of students are very well employed without doing a co-op as well. So it's kind of, you got two great options no matter what you're going to pick. I have a lot of friends that didn't do co-op and got a job right out of university. I had a lot of friends that did co-op and ended up working for some of those companies when they graduated as well. So yeah, if you're looking for a co-op, that's definitely an option to do. And we can provide you with some info on that. And like I said, it just adds a year onto your degree program. Okay, that's a good question.
Thank you.
No problem.
And that looks like that's all.
All right. That's bang on time. We're right at 7 o'clock, which is kind of what I was aiming for. So that's perfect. If there are any other questions out there, feel free to quickly drop them in the chat. But if not, again, I'll just leave my email in the chat, transfer.recruit@lakehead.ca. There we go. If anybody has any questions or wants to book an appointment with me directly, feel free to do that after this evening. But if not, best of luck. Good luck with the rest of your diploma or your degree. Hopefully this evening was helpful for you. I know it was a lot of info, but we appreciate you guys hanging in there and asking lots of good questions. So Rebecca and I will leave it there, and hopefully we'll see some of you in the spring or in September. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Anya.